gangster dudes in the MLB all next to each other and can speak on how scary it is to be in their presence, especially when none of them even smiled. This is a part of the bit. All three of these dudes quickly would jump to a fight if we had to empty the dugout, if you had to get the bullpen emptied. These motherfuckers gonna swing first. That's all I know. And so I thought that was real cool for them to bring that up. In addition to that, I think one of my favorite bits was seeing how they actually looped in what appears to be a Philly Karen at the BBWA Awards when we got the announcements for all of the new additions to the WBC for the USA team, which would include, I think it was my man Pete Cole Armstrong and my man in Arizona, Corbin. While they were on stage, they were announcing that there was a young man who should get the ball that was signed by all of them on stage as a result of him being very, very, very studious and all these other things. And while he was getting presented the ball, this happened.
Young Banks, okay? So just keep trying and keep working hard. This ball's for you, brother. Right.
Big Pappy, mama.
We get you another ball, though. We get you another ball. Young Banks, okay? So just keep trying and keep working hard.
So as you see, my man Roy, who is a consummate professional, definitely held it down, did his own thing, even though he had to sit there and try to showcase next to Mookie Betts, who is one of the most fashionable dudes in the MLB, and he knows it, and we like him for that too. So yeah, good on Roy. There's some other stuff that happened. I like that bit. I really liked the Tommy Pham bit, which was a continuation of his bit last year, where he basically talked about how Gary Sheffield was one of the most feared men in the MLB of the time he was out, not just for people on the field, but people in the front office as well. How at some point in time, he got hit by a pitch and decided it was vindictive, so he took his bat with him to first base just in case shit popped off. So we love stuff like that, giving Chef his honors, and definitely putting Tommy Pham in the back of that as well. Former Cardinal, came up through the Cardinal system, even though he is right now, I guess, a Pirate. That was kind of funny. I really thought that was funny. And the Karen thing definitely was peak. And if you missed it, I say go back and watch the full award show. But one of the other things that I thought was hilarious, that I don't know if y'all peeped it or not, but my man Roy did a bit where he talked about not Big Pappy, but he was Big Pappy. And Big Pappy, Big Pappy was the dude who was like in the dugout, right? He wasn't necessarily an official member of the team. He may or may not have snuck in to Fenway, and they was trying to figure out like why he didn't get any play on the Netflix documentary about the 2004 Boston Red Sox that came back 3-1 against the Yankees. It was hilarious. My favorite part, my favorite line, and Roy, I texted you this. I hope you, actually, no, I didn't hit send yet, but Roy said in this line, because they was like, yo, we never found that dude, and Doc Roberts was in it, and he was like, yeah, you talk about some random black dude who came into the, and then Roy Wood was like, oh, he said I'm black, but I'm not, I'm Latino. You see, they looking for somebody black. Okay, cool. No worries, because I'm Latino. I'm Latino. So yeah, man. Yeah, I just gotta give my dog Roy some love, man, because I don't know if people think that this stuff is just easy, it becomes natural. Like, you actually have to work on these bits for weeks. I'm sure you got to make sure you get the commitment from the other people that are included as a stand-up comic. I know. So I just wanted to give Roy Wood his props, because this was not an easy fix. And also another thing that I've noticed this year that was different from last year. Last year they did the same thing, even though Roy Wood hosted on his own. But in last year's, the crowd was only made up of baseball players and family and people that are in the industry, which makes for a dry audience. You know what I'm saying? Because baseball people are not going to sit there and clap for people that they don't like. They're not going to make too much of a big deal because they know cameras are on them. They're not going to cheer for people when they, and so this year they did something smart, and they invited just regular old civilians to fill up the balcony. And the civilians did not disappoint. They laughed at the jokes. They clapped. They were excited. A little bit of heckling, but that's okay. But it made for a better production because Roy, as a stand-up comic, I know you, like myself, are accustomed to instant gratification. So to sit and do jokes in front of a crowd that won't laugh at you even when it's funny, I think does not necessarily bode well for business. Now, there was a couple jokes that may not have went over the way I thought they would have. I thought that the Chicago White Sox Pope joke was funnier than the room led on for it to be. Like basically said Juan Soto was not the biggest free agent of 2025. It was the Pope because the Pope ended up being signed by the White Sox. Real inside baseball joke, but that did happen.